All right, well, this week we have had some interesting price action unfold on the yen. We have our retracements forming on the euro pound as well. Before we get to that and the rundown for the week, as ever, this is Technical Thursday. Catching up with the charts that we shortlisted at the beginning of the week. My name is Dima and thank you very much for joining me. Welcome if it's your first time and welcome back if you've been here with me before. We are not looking at the dollar this week as mentioned before because of some unclear price action, and we're still waiting to get some more data, some more candles before making that decision. But we do have our other pairs to look at, and mostly bullish, and some other pairs to watch for. As always, let's begin with the economic calendar to see what we've got. Thursday today we've had the Aussie news, some dollar news, and tomorrow ending the week with pound retail sales news and euro speech and a small bit of dollar news as well. I will focus on the pound and the euro because those are the news items on the calendar, and we do have pound and euro there for this week in the shortlist. Okay, let's begin. We will go through each of our charts to our shortlist. We'll ignore the dollar for this week because we're not looking at it this week. It's not part of the plan, so let's ignore that. Let's look at the minor pairs and what we have this week. All right, let's begin with pound yen. Pound yen has continued its move higher. We have broken through these major highs, got out of this consolidation movement. We have our invalidation, which we mentioned on Tuesday, and now there is a retracement phase as we have not yet reached into this high up here. That was the overall target, and what we can see is that right now where we reverse from is this 188 whole number. So that is a significant whole number, and usually you will have some action happening around that price point on the charts. When you see whole numbers, they have reversals around them, and market does tend to react off them. Now, what do we see after this move? We have our zone where we were interested in, and here we are reaching into that zone to head higher into the overall level. And the overall level was a target point here at 188.7.8, something like that. If you want to draw a fib, you can draw a fib from the low to the high to see where we're at, and the halfway mark is below here. So anything below the halfway mark would be a price that we'd be interested in terms of a cheaper price to look for. Here we are. If I just adjust the fib, you can see that the 61.8 is in fact a little bit lower down, and that area around the 61.8 would be a much better price, a cheaper price. This is an overall area, an overall zone. Okay, that's the pound yen. We've got our invalidation as well, and see if we head higher and create a swing. Okay, next is New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen, similar picture. We had the break through these highs, headed higher. We now have this level down here, which you can clearly see. And again, a similar picture to pound yen, wanting that better price, which we're getting now, and then continuing to the upside. Now, as well as that, if we look to the left, far left, we have reached our first target, and now we are looking at the second one, which is this swing up here. Now we're getting this retracement. Let's see whether we have a bounce off level. We have some interesting price action, and we'll have our invalidation at this low. We can now move this level, and this idea becomes a bit clearer. Again, similar to the pound yen, we have the 91 level here, significant level. and it makes sense. The market has created a reversal of that. And let's see whether we get that continuation to the upside. We do have a decent upside here, about 230 pips to the 92 level. That's another significant number. And then 92.5 is the overall target, higher target. But we have extended the ADR, the range of the week, quite a few pips. So that move, I don't know if we're going to continue 200 pips. That's a big move. Let's see if we get that continuation further today and tomorrow, Friday. Euro pound, another one we looked at as bullish, of course. You may have been with me. And if we just clean up the charts, here's that previous week, heading lower, coming down, creating the swing, and then moving higher. On Tuesday, we were looking for that break of this price, and this is what we had created, left this swing behind, did not invalidate this low, right into the zone that we were looking at. We went higher, created this little level here, pulled back, went higher still, broken through this high, and now we're having another possible swing. Now it is a more expensive price, a higher price, and therefore the probabilities are reduced. However, the overall next target is this green line here, which you can see to the left is this swing right here, this little poke, this little wick up here. It's the next obvious one. Now, of course, it's not as good an entry down here or here, but up here it now becomes a little bit more expensive, a little bit riskier, but still we shall see if we get that turnaround on this level. And the invalidation now becomes, put it at this safer low. We now had this happen, and basically this would be the idea. Continue to the next target point. We had our news on Wednesday, which is the big news for the pound for the week. That drove price higher, or I should say the market just went along with the news and then broke multiple highs. If you look here, it's a bit of like a trend line, if you like. Broke through that, and now we are having these higher lows, higher highs, and continuing to the upside on the euro pound, which is the bias that we had at the beginning of the week. Okay, moving swiftly on to euro Aussie, and euro Aussie also had a swing point to go higher, which is what we were looking at, and the market went higher after breaking through this range. We had our invalidation point and waiting to see what will happen, and then what we're looking for is the break higher, moving higher, creating another swing, which it created here. And now this is not an invalidation, this is a valid, this was a valid idea. After we broke through this level, we've now held this level, we now have a break of this high, and therefore looking to continue and head higher still. We still have this level, and this is what we'll reference. The invalidation now becomes this low. And now we're going to beginning to see that next swing developing. So we have a break, swing low, created a higher high, and now another swing low likely. And then let's see if we head into the overall target, which to the left is this obvious high. We're heading higher and higher and higher. That's what it's showing us. No guarantees, of course, but it seems like for now we are gently creeping upwards, which is what we expected. Okay, that is Euro Aussie. If you like this video, remember to click the like, comment if you have any comments with your own charts or questions about what we're looking at and why we've shortlisted these charts and the price action. Feel free to do that below. Okay, that's the Euro Aussie. Let's move on to New Zealand CAD. Another high probability one we looked at. We had the low of the week form. We're looking for the next retracement, the next swing, the next low, which is what we are having right here. And now that we are heading higher, breaking through structure, we are now holding this level. We're going to look for next, which is what we're having here, is as we are pulling back into this level, we're looking for those higher prices. Now we have hit the target, the initial target, which was here based on this swing up here, which is likely why we retraced. And now that we are forming another swing low, then we're looking at the next target after we cleared this, which would be the one, if you look to the left, up here. That's the most obvious one. And we are here with the level. And now, invalidation point can move into the last obvious swing point, which is this low here. And we really want to see this high cleared with momentum, with candles closing, the bodies closing above. That will be the real seal for this higher bias. That will seal the deal, and this low will remain. Okay, that's the New Zealand CAD. We've got our invalidation point as well. If we go lower, then we'll have to reassess. For now, we're looking for higher prices. As you can see, we've got these big bullish candles, and then this is a brief pullback, left a wick to the downside, and a bit risky looking at these overnight, looking at these on the slower times of the day. However, New Zealand is an Asian currency, Asian time zone currency, so we may yet see some interesting price action and a movement. It can move during Asia. Okay, next on the list is pound Swiss. What have we got on pound Swiss? Well, we were thinking that this trend line will hold. We were looking at price to go higher, which it did go higher Tuesday, and then Wednesday reversed, invalidated, and this was not a successful idea since we moved down back lower. Now the interesting part is that we are here on this level that we looked at, and then we are just bouncing off it, creating this level, multiple touch points, as you can see here. And what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that there are orders gathering in the market, and now we're going to wait for an obvious swing to develop and then continue on its way on the trend. Now, right now, as of now, we do not have that. What we want to see is a nice bullish close, and ideally 2 candles heading higher, daily closes heading higher and higher. For now, this is a mess, and what we've got is really, in effect, this kind of range. What does that mean? Well, how are we approaching this? Let's just get rid of that. We were looking at this high as the next target, and the next highs up here as the target after that. And in order to move there and to confirm that we are heading higher, what we want to see is more price action to the upside. So far, we're in a range. So there's 2 possibilities. Once again, as with previous charts, as you saw with the others that we looked at, we would like to see a break and then a continuation higher. But if we don't get that, and we break this low here, that will then become the invalidation. And we will see a swing if we do see that, and then we head higher, break above, back above through this zone, come back and retrace, and then head higher. That is what we are preferring to see. Now, if we don't get that, we also have this significant high up here. And what is the significance? Well, the significance is that it's the last obvious swing and the last obvious high. Therefore, if we break through it, back through it, then we are back in the bullish trend. Let's have a look on the 4 hour. You can see that swing here and really want to see that. But for now, the thing is that we are stuck in a range. Let's see which one of these happen. Whether they do, we may range for even longer, and that makes this pair right now, pound Swiss, tricky to trade and more risky to trade, especially on Friday. It's maybe safer to wait until the next week, until we have a bit more price action, a bit more clues to where price wants to go, where the market wants to go, and then make a decision. But for now, this is looking low probability until we have some a clearer scenario, a clearer idea of what's going on here. Okay, Aussie New Zealand. What we had on Aussie New Zealand is an invalidation of this idea to go bullish, and the market went lower, cleared this zone, and now we are stuck in this range. A bit like pound Swiss, the market is telling us that we do not want to go higher yet. And what that means is that if we get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, oops. And then let's look at it from the perspective of this range. What did this range tell us? Well, we may yet head lower, which seems like the more higher probability scenario because we have created a new low. We breached this low down here. Therefore, I would still be looking at this area. However, don't know if it's going to reach there today. Tomorrow we may not. Again, we may need to wait until the following week until we get some more clarity. But really, this was the original best price that we were looking at this zone, and I'd still prefer it to head higher. The alternative is, of course, just like with the pound Swiss, if we break highs, if, when, don't know, let's see, if that happens, then the break of the high, pullback to get a better price, and continuing higher would be the scenario for Aussie New Zealand. However, this range is really putting me off here at the moment because we are stuck here, we are not going anywhere, and the cheaper price is down here. If you want, you can measure fib. As you can see, the 61.8 is down here, and we never reached it. We never actually reached that level, that price, and therefore didn't really get into a cheap price point, and makes sense why it would be ranging. Okay, so that is the plan, that's the idea. The overall invalidation would be down here. If we take interest in this zone, this yellow area, and let's see where we get there, if we get there. Okay, finally oil, and oil is one we have been tracing. As expected, the downside was very, very clear. We have had a swing point in the market, hopefully made use of that. We were looking for it to break. Wednesday it indeed broke lower. We had a brief retracement, which is what we expected. Not a very deep one though, and then headed downwards. And now we have reached the overall target, this low. We can now discard oil. Obviously the next targets would be the clear lows for oil. However, we are now in a deep zone, cheap area. It was now really quite risky to continue selling it. However, that's not to say that it's not going to reach the areas, this level, but we'll see. The probabilities have now reduced. We've kind of reached targets, multiple targets. We've created this swing low, and yeah, what can you say? We are really sold off here in a weak area. I should say cheap area. The next clear zone or area becomes this, and that is quite simple to see. However, because of this cheap price, I'm not quite excited about this one. It may be that we head into the next level down here, in which case something swing around here would be interesting. However, again, it's really made its move. Oil has really made its move for the week, for this week, and if you've not made use of it, then the probabilities are not in the favor anymore. Therefore, really gonna step aside and leave this alone. All right, and that sums up the pairs for this week and the outlook. You can see that tomorrow you may need to be a little bit more careful. Pick the pairs carefully. We only have a few that are still possible, or I should say high probability to enter. Some are not. Some have already made their move. Therefore, manage your risk and plan your trade carefully. Okay, I will see you on Sunday once again for next week's plan. Thank you very much for joining me. It is another video. We're done for this week, and come back for the next video and with some more trading plans. Okay, bye for now, guys.